A man borrowed $3,000 from his uncle and turned it into a $24 billion empire that now powers entire nations. One family quietly controls industries across 4 continents, and most Americans have never even heard their name. And buried inside this list is a billionaire whose single business deal didn't just make history, it made other billionaires look like they were playing amateur hour. Join us and let's discover who truly holds the crown as the richest Black family in the world. Let's go.
Number 13. The Fenty Family. She hasn't released a full studio album since 2016, no world tour, no massive global concert rollout, and yet, as of 2025, Rihanna's net worth sits at $1.4 billion. If you were trying to understand how that's possible, the answer is 2 words: Fenty Beauty. Launched in 2017 with a premise that sounds obvious in hindsight, but was considered risky at the time: makeup for every skin tone, not just the default shades the industry had catered to for decades. Fenty Beauty didn't just succeed, it detonated. The brand generated $100 million in its first 40 days of sales alone. To put that in perspective, that's like selling out an entire stadium concert every single day for 40 days straight. Today, Fenty Beauty is valued at $2.8 billion. Rihanna holds a 50% stake. That single asset alone is enough to put her in billionaire territory before counting anything else she owns. Then add her 28% stake in Savage X Fenty, a lingerie brand valued at $1 billion. Then count the music catalog, the acting credits, the brand partnerships, the real estate portfolio, a $13.8 million Beverly Hills mansion shared with A$AP Rocky and their 2 children, plus luxury homes in Barbados, London, and New York City. Her garage reflects the same precision: a Lamborghini Aventador, a Maybach 5.7S, and a Porsche 911 Turbo S. Here is what makes this story genuinely extraordinary. She built all of this without the traditional path. No corporation handed her a beauty empire. She identified a gap so obvious that the entire industry had ignored it for generations, and she walked straight through it. Through the Clara Leonel Foundation, she has directed over $33 million towards COVID-19 relief, cancer research, domestic violence shelters, and climate action. Rihanna didn't just find a gap in the market, she found a gap in history, and she built a billion-dollar empire inside it.
Number 12. The Carter Family. $2.5 billion. That is the combined financial firepower of one couple operating in perfect strategic alignment. Jay-Z and Beyoncé Knowles Carter don't just occupy the top of music. They own infrastructure across industries that most artists never even think to enter. Jay-Z's personal fortune of over $2.5 billion was constructed through a blueprint so methodical it reads like a Harvard Business School case study. Armand de Brignac Champagne, Douce Cognac, Tidal, the streaming platform, early stakes in Uber that turned into a massive windfall when the company went public, investments in fine art, a sports agency, a record label, each one a diversified node in a financial network that keeps generating wealth regardless of whether he releases a single bar of music. Beyoncé's $540 million empire runs parallel but entirely distinct. Parkwood Entertainment, her own production and management company, gives her absolute control over her creative output, her stadium tours, her films, and her brand partnerships with Pepsi, H&M, and L'Oreal. She doesn't just perform in stadiums, she owns what happens inside them commercially. Their real estate portfolio reads like an architectural fantasy. A $200 million California compound, reportedly the most expensive home ever sold in the state of California, an $88 million Bel Air mansion, additional properties in the Hamptons, Tribeca, and Malibu. Beyoncé once gifted Jay-Z a $2 million Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport. That single gift generated financial headlines worldwide. The Carters have proven something the establishment had to acknowledge reluctantly. 2 Black artists from Houston and Brooklyn built a dynasty that rivals fortunes assembled over generations by old money families. They didn't inherit a single dollar of it. They engineered every cent.
Only 1% of people know the dark truth behind what we are about to show you next. If you want to be part of the few who actually know what's happening in the world, subscribe and leave a like right now. Done? Look at this. Number 11. The James Family. Picture a kid from Akron, Ohio, a city that never made international headlines for anything glamorous. No silver spoon, no connected family, no safety net of any kind. Just raw, almost supernatural talent, an obsessive work ethic, and a brain that could read the game 3 moves ahead of every opponent on the floor. That kid is now worth $1.1 billion. LeBron James didn't just become the greatest basketball player of his generation. He became a fully functioning financial institution. His $49 million annual NBA salary sounds enormous until you realize it represents only a small fraction of his actual wealth. His real empire was built in boardrooms, not on hardwood. His lifetime Nike partnership alone is valued over $1 billion, a deal structured less like a sponsorship and more like a corporate merger between two global brands. Then there's Spring Hill Entertainment, his production company that has brought culturally significant stories to Hollywood screens and streaming platforms. His investment portfolio spans media companies, technology startups, and consumer brands, structured with the discipline of a Wall Street fund manager, not a celebrity dabbling in side deals. In Los Angeles, he owns a $52 million mansion stretching across 15,000 square feet. Back in Akron, he holds a 30,000 square foot estate, a deliberate monument to where everything began. His garage is a collector's dream, a $670,000 Lamborghini Aventador customized to match his shoes, a Rolls-Royce Phantom, and a Ferrari 458 Spider. But the piece that transforms this from a success story into a dynasty is Savannah James, his partner since high school. Poised, strategic, and deliberately private, she has shaped the family's brand with quiet precision. Through the LeBron James Family Foundation, they built the I Promise School in Akron, a fully funded institution designed to break generational cycles of poverty. That's not charity, that's infrastructure.
Number 10. The Winfrey family. She wore dresses made from potato sacks as a little girl. Growing up in rural Mississippi in the 1950s, Oprah Gayle Winfrey experienced poverty not as an abstract concept, but as a daily physical reality. Abuse, instability, a childhood so difficult that statistically it should have ended her story before it ever began. Instead, it became the fuel that powered one of the most extraordinary wealth-building journeys in American history. By the time The Oprah Winfrey Show premiered in 1986, she was already rewriting every rule of American media. For 25 straight years, her show wasn't just television, it was a cultural institution, a trusted space where tens of millions of people felt genuinely seen and understood in ways they couldn't find anywhere else. That trust became currency, and Oprah understood with perfect clarity how to invest it. Today, her net worth stands at $3.5 billion. Her stake in Weight Watchers alone generated hundreds of millions. Oprah Daily, her content partnership with Apple TV+, and her production company Harpo Productions represent a diversified media empire generating revenue across multiple platforms simultaneously. Think of it this way, most celebrities build one revenue stream. Oprah built an entire river system, dozens of streams all feeding into one enormous reservoir of compounding wealth. Her political influence operates at a completely different level too. In 2008, her endorsement of Barack Obama's presidential campaign is credited by political analysts with delivering a decisive surge of support at the most critical moment of the Democratic primary. That is not celebrity endorsement. That is geopolitical leverage. Through her Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation, she has donated over $400 million and helped educate more than 72,000 people across the globe. After Hurricane Katrina, she didn't just write a check, she showed up physically to help communities rebuild. Oprah didn't break barriers, she dissolved them entirely and built new structures in their place.
Number 9. The Jordan family. In 1984, Nike was in serious trouble. Adidas and Converse dominated basketball culture. Nike was a distant, almost irrelevant afterthought on the court. Then they signed a rookie from North Carolina named Michael Jordan for $2.5 million spread across 5 years, and the entire economics of athletic endorsement changed permanently and forever. Air Jordan didn't just become a shoe line, it became a cultural artifact that transcends every generation it passes through. Today, the Jordan brand generates over $5 billion in annual revenue for Nike, and Michael Jordan receives a royalty on every single dollar of that. That royalty stream alone makes his entire NBA career salary look like pocket change by comparison. His total net worth, $3.5 billion. To understand the real scale of that number, Jordan earned approximately $90 million across his entire playing career. His Nike deal has generated more than that amount every single year for over 2 decades since the day he retired from the game. 6 championships, 5 MVP awards. But the real trophy is the licensing empire bearing his name, one that will almost certainly outlive every other aspect of his public legacy. His real estate holdings include 2 private estates in North Carolina and a 28,000 square foot luxury palace in Florida. His personal car collection includes a Ferrari 488 Pista Spider worth $829,000, a rare Bugatti Veyron Sang Noir valued at $2.2 million, and a Mercedes McLaren SLR.
He also owns multiple private yachts. Jordan was the face on the billboard. He made absolutely certain his name was also on the stock certificate. He built the template every athlete since has desperately tried and largely failed to replicate.
Number 8. The Johnson family. Most people remember Magic Johnson for the no-look passes, the 5 NBA championships, the smile that could fill a stadium with electricity. What almost nobody talks about is the financial reality underneath all of that. Nearly everything Magic built monetarily came after he walked off the basketball court for the last time. His entire 13-year NBA career earned him approximately $40 million. Impressive by any normal standard, but almost completely irrelevant compared to what followed. As of 2025, Earvin Magic Johnson's net worth has crossed $1.2 billion. And the engine powering that fortune was never basketball, it was insurance. Magic acquired a 60% controlling stake in Equitrust Life Insurance Company, and under his direct leadership, the firm's assets exploded from $16 billion to $27 billion. To put that growth in terms anyone can feel, imagine a building that doubles in size while you're standing inside it. That's what happened to Equitrust under Magic's watch. But he didn't stop there. Magic Johnson is simultaneously a minority owner in 4 major professional sports franchises: the Los Angeles Dodgers, the LA Sparks, Los Angeles Football Club, and the NFL's Washington Commanders. 4 sports, 4 leagues, 1 man. His Dodgers won World Series championships in 2020 and 2024. Beyond sports, Magic Johnson Enterprises has invested in Starbucks, 24 Hour Fitness, Pepsi, TGI Fridays, and has deployed over $1 billion in real estate across underserved American urban communities. The model Magic cracked is almost ruthlessly simple. Take capital, reinvest with discipline, multiply through scale, and build where others refuse to go. When COVID-19 devastated minority-owned businesses, he deployed $100 million in targeted loans. He didn't post about it, he funded it. That's the difference between celebrity wealth and generational power.
Number 7. The Perry family. He was sleeping in his car, not as a metaphor, literally. There were nights when Tyler Perry, a young man with nothing but a dream and zero safety net, had no place to sleep but the backseat of his vehicle. He had poured every dollar he owned into a stage play, and the audience didn't show up. 2,800 seats, 30 people in the room. That level of failure would permanently break most human beings. Perry rewrote the script. He revised the show. He hustled ticket sales from the trunk of his car like a man who had burned every bridge back to safety, because he had. Then something shifted. A character named Medea, a thunderously loud, no-nonsense grandmother in a wig and a housecoat, walked onto the stage and exploded into American culture like a grenade with a very short fuse. From that character came a universe. From that universe came films, television series, and eventually a studio so large it defies easy comprehension. Tyler Perry Studios occupies 330 acres in Atlanta, Georgia. It is larger than Disney, Warner Bros., and Paramount Studios combined, and it sits on land that was once a Confederate Army base, a detail that carries a historical weight Perry has spoken about with undisguised emotion. By 2025, his empire was valued at $1.4 billion. He owns 100% of everything he has ever created. Scripts, studios, syndication rights, licensing revenue alone runs into hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Hollywood never offered him a seat at the table, so he purchased the entire building and renamed it after himself. Through the Tyler Perry Foundation, he has paid off strangers' grocery bills, covered funeral costs for families who couldn't afford burial, rebuilt homes after disasters, and funded organizations like Feeding America and the NAACP at a scale that reflects genuine fury against the suffering he once knew personally.
Number 6. Folorunso Alakija. She was a fashion designer, fabrics, thread, high society clients across Lagos. That was her world, and she was exceptional at it. Then one single decision flipped everything upside down, and for a specific moment in recorded financial history, she was richer than Oprah Winfrey. Folorunso Alakija is one of the most breathtaking wealth stories on this entire planet, and the global media barely whispers her name. Born in Nigeria, Alakija built her first empire with a needle and thread. She launched Supreme Stitches, dressing Nigeria's elite with a reputation for craftsmanship that was completely untouchable. But fashion was only the opening act. In 1993, her company Famfa Oil was awarded OML 127, a deep-water oil block buried beneath Nigeria's Agbami field in the Atlantic Ocean. That single block, pumping hundreds of thousands of barrels every day at its peak, became her personal money-printing machine. Even after brutal, prolonged legal battles with the Nigerian government attempting to reclaim the license, Alakija held on to a 60% stake with both hands and refused to let go. 60% of a deep water oil block. Think about that, like owning the majority of a skyscraper that generates cash around the clock, underwater, automatically. By 2014, her fortune peaked at an estimated $3.3 billion, higher than Oprah Winfrey's net worth at that exact moment in time. Today, it sits around $1 billion, but make no mistake, this woman's financial and cultural footprint remains enormous. Her lifestyle is completely consistent with that number. She owns a $46 million private jet, a $100 million London mansion, and once personally funded her son's wedding to the reported tune of $10 million. But here is the detail that separates Alakija from almost every other name on this list. Through her Rose of Sharon Foundation, she has funded scholarships, housing assistance, and business grants for widows and orphans across Nigeria, channeling her fortune back into the exact communities that watched her rise.
Number 5. The Motsepe family. Most people have never once heard the name Patrice Motsepe. That is precisely how he prefers it. While flashier billionaires were busy collecting headlines and magazine covers, Motsepe was quietly and methodically collecting mining assets, insurance companies, digital banking stakes, and football clubs across the African continent, assembling one of the most strategically diversified fortunes on Earth without generating a single viral moment. As founder of African Rainbow Minerals, Motsepe owns nearly 46% of the company. In April 2025 alone, he pocketed $25.4 million in dividends as mining stocks surged dramatically on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. He also holds an 11.8% stake in Harmony Gold, with active operations stretching from South Africa to Papua New Guinea and Australia. But here is where his story becomes genuinely jaw-dropping. Through African Rainbow Capital, Motsepe made an early and bold bet on Time Bank, a digital banking startup built specifically to serve populations that traditional banks had ignored and abandoned for decades. His 40% indirect stake is now worth approximately $600 million after a blockbuster funding round in December 2024 valued the company at $1.5 billion. His total fortune sits at approximately $3.4 billion. In 2013, he became the first African in history to sign the Giving Pledge, personally committing to donate at least half of his entire fortune to charitable causes before he dies. Through the Motsepe Foundation, millions have flown into rural education, healthcare infrastructure, and community development programs across South Africa. He also owns Mamelodi Sundowns, one of the most decorated football clubs on the African continent, and currently serves as president of the Confederation of African Football. Motsepe plays an exceptionally long game, and he is winning it in near total silence.
Number 4. The Stewart family. In 1951, David L. Stewart was born in Clinton, Missouri, a small American town where racial segregation wasn't a chapter in a history book, but a daily lived experience etched into every street corner and every institution. His father worked as a janitor and repaired televisions on the side to bring in extra income. His mother kept the home. The family didn't have financial resources, but they had something that cannot be purchased at any price, an absolute, unshakable belief that disciplined work compounds into something extraordinary over time. That belief eventually produced worldwide technology known as WWT, one of the most staggering and least discussed business success stories in the entire history of American enterprise. Stewart founded WWT in 1990 with a small team, minimal capital, and a vision that virtually no one in the industry shared or believed in at the time. Build a global technology services company capable of serving the most demanding and complex clients on Earth with military-grade precision. Today, WWT generates over $17 billion in annual revenue. Its client list includes Boeing, Verizon, and the United States federal government at the highest levels of operation. To put $17 billion in annual revenue into a frame anyone can feel, that number exceeds the entire gross domestic product of several sovereign nations. WWT is not a celebrity startup. It is not a viral app. It is fundamental digital infrastructure operating at the highest levels of corporate and governmental technology deployment on the planet. In 2019, Forbes identified Stewart as one of only 13 black billionaires on Earth, a list so short it fits on a single page in a world of 8 billion people. He has been married to his wife Thelma for over 40 years. Their children continue expanding the family's influence across business, civic service, education, and philanthropy. Stewart built his $17 billion empire not in Silicon Valley, but in St. Louis, Missouri, with grit that segregation could not touch.
Number 3. The Al-Amoudi family. Mohammed Hussein Al-Amoudi doesn't throw parties on yachts. He doesn't appear at fashion weeks or film premieres. He doesn't maintain a social media presence of any kind.
What he does instead is quietly and methodically control $10.3 billion in assets deployed across oil refineries, gold mines, agricultural megaprojects, hospitals, universities, and infrastructure spanning 2 full continents without ever generating a single trending headline. Born in Dessie, Ethiopia in 1946, Alamoudi built his initial fortune through construction and real estate development in Saudi Arabia. Then he expanded outward with calculated precision. Today, he controls Preem, Sweden's single largest oil refinery, responsible for processing nearly 80% of Sweden's entire national fuel supply. Read that sentence one more time. One man, born in a small Ethiopian city, effectively controls the fuel supply of an entire Scandinavian nation of 10 million people. That is a level of invisible power that belongs in a geopolitical thriller. Through Svenska Petroleum, Midrock Gold, and Naft Services, his energy and mining footprint extends across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East simultaneously. In Ethiopia, his agricultural company, Saudi Star, manages up to 500,000 hectares of productive farmland, an area roughly the size of the entire state of Delaware, producing sugar, rice, and edible oils using cutting-edge industrial equipment at massive scale. He has personally funded Unity University, constructed hospitals, built a major library at Addis Ababa University, financed stadiums, clinics, and road networks across the Horn of Africa. During severe droughts in Ethiopia, his private financial contributions have provided relief at a scale most national governments struggle to match. In 2017, he was briefly detained during Saudi Arabia's sweeping anti-corruption purge. He was released without charges filed. He returned to the helm of his empire without public comment and continued operating as if nothing had interrupted his momentum for a single day.
Number 2. The Smith family. Robert F. Smith grew up in Denver, Colorado, the son of 2 public school educators. He studied chemical engineering at Cornell University. After graduating, he went to work for Goodyear Tire, then Air Products and Chemicals, then Kraft General Foods. Nothing about that professional trajectory announces a future billionaire until you understand what Smith was actually doing during every one of those years. He was studying systems with obsessive precision, learning exactly how technology and capital interact at the deepest levels, building the intellectual architecture for something far larger than anyone around him could see coming. In 2000, he launched Vista Equity Partners, a private equity firm with one single focused mandate: acquire, optimize, and scale enterprise software companies that most investors considered unglamorous and overlooked. The company's Vista targets are not household names. They are the invisible digital infrastructure that runs modern civilization. The software processing credit card transactions around the world, managing hospital patient records, filing corporate tax returns, and running the data systems of government agencies. Every time you swipe a card, submit a digital form, or access an online government service, there is a meaningful statistical probability that a Vista portfolio company is processing that exact action in the background. Over 2 decades of operation, Vista delivered an average annual return of approximately 30%.
Number 1. The Dangote family. $24 billion. One man, one continent transformed from the inside out. Aliko Dangote is the wealthiest black person on planet Earth, and quite possibly the single most economically consequential private citizen in the entire recorded history of the African continent. Born in 1957 in Kano, Nigeria, into an established merchant family, Dangote had access to advantages that most people on this list never had. But access to opportunity and actually constructing something of truly monumental scale with that opportunity are 2 completely different things, separated by an ocean of discipline, risk, and relentless execution. In his 20s, he borrowed approximately $3,000 from his uncle to launch a small cement trading operation. $3,000. That is less than the cost of a used car in most American cities today. That loan became the original seed of Dangote Group, a conglomerate so deeply embedded that its sudden absence would be felt like a physical rupture across the entire region. Dangote manufactures cement, sugar, salt, and flour, the foundational materials that literally build homes, feed entire populations, and power the daily functioning of economies. His factories employed tens of thousands of workers across Nigeria and multiple neighboring countries. Then came the move that elevated Dangote from African billionaire to genuine global energy player, the Dangote Refinery, a $19 billion mega project, the largest single oil refinery on the entire African continent. It is not merely a business asset generating profit, it is a statement written in steel and concrete of what African industrial ambition can design, finance, build, and own entirely on its own terms.
Through the Dangote Foundation, he has attacked malnutrition, infectious disease outbreaks, education inequality, and disaster relief with the same overwhelming scale he brings to every business operation. His active partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to eradicate polio from Nigeria demonstrates a level of personal commitment that extends far beyond writing charitable checks. As of 2025, he has begun laying fiber optic cable networks across Nigeria, physically building the digital infrastructure that will power the next generation of African economic growth and connectivity. Dangote is not simply wealthy, he is nation-shaping, economy-defining,
and completely irreplaceable. If you thought this was terrifying, you are not ready for what they found in the video on your screen. Click it right now. The truth is worse than you think.